Graham, I know you've said you've had confidence in all your guys who are on the field, but what did you find to be the biggest challenge on offense at times last season with so many guys not able to play? And how much better do you anticipate this group being this season?
Yeah, I think in the end, it just comes down to execution. And that comes down to practicing better and the focus on detail during the week and really knowing your role and how you need to execute during the game. And I think for us, like we've only had two practices of spring ball, but it's going to be a completely different team. Guys are playing with confidence, trusting the game plan or trusting the installs we got in and flying around making plays. So this spring ball will mean a lot. And I know it's from where we were last year to where we're going to be this year, completely different. I got complete confidence in that.
Jeff?
Yeah, Graham, Danny and Chase were talking about, you've got a different quarterbacks coach in Paul versus John, and not saying one is better than the other, but it sounds like a little different approach this year, more having the quarterbacks look at the run game, a more holistic approach. Can you address how things have changed for you in dealing with Paul versus John?
Yeah, I mean, first off, Coach Bud was a great coach and still is, and that's why I got a great job over at Colorado State. And then for us, the verbiage didn't really change a lot with just because he was working with Coach Chris the entire time. So as far as like verbiage, it hasn't really changed, but the emphasis on the little things and like being able to get up on the board, draw a play up and explain it and truly have complete and full confidence in that play and knowing every single part of it and even in the run game. And really it's the attention to detail in that aspect that Coach Chris really has been emphasizing in the 8 weeks of winter conditioning and then up to this point. So it's been great.
Go to Colton.
Graham, a couple of other quarterbacks, especially Chase, mentioned the game slowing down for him a little bit. Obviously, when you started the games last season, you could see at times maybe it sped up and slowed down to like the inconsistencies. Have you felt yourself kind of leveling that out and finding a more consistent rhythm here in spring?
Yeah, completely. And that goes with working over with Coach Chris in the winter and truly just detailing up what happened during the season and how to improve on that and playing with more smooth footwork in the gun and under center and playing with great timing, great anticipation. And it's been great these first two practices just to put that work to really bring that to life on the field. And I feel like I'm playing some smooth and crisp ball right now, and I'm loving it. So it can only go up from there, which is fun.
Jake?
Graham, not to dwell in the past from last year or whatnot, but I was reading the UW Badgers article about you injuring your throwing shoulder last year. When did that occur, and how much did that affect you during those games? In November and December.
Yeah, I mean, it comes with playing the sport. You get hurt and you go through stuff like that, and having to get like a cortisone shot during the week, stuff like that. But I'm not the one to sit here and make excuses to how I played, and having a little banged up shoulder doesn't justify losing three games and playing like that. So I'm not going to sit here and make that an excuse because it's not.
Back to Colton.
Graham, has anybody from the wide receiver or tight end group stood out to you so far? I know it's only a couple of practices in, but maybe throughout their winter and that work.
Yeah, I'm gonna be broad with this answer because those two groups and as a whole, they're truly paying attention to the details and emphasizing route depth and getting out of their breaks and really just competing for the ball and going up and getting it. And I think those two groups as a whole are doing a great job of that and truly competing their asses off and bring that energy every day. And I could narrow out single guys and explain how they're doing it, but everyone's doing it different. And that's the cool part. But as a whole, those two groups are doing a great job of competing and bringing that juice every day.
The earmuffs next time, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Steve.
Sorry, Mom. Don't cuss.
Well, what specifically have you worked on the most during the offseason in terms of trying to become a better quarterback? Is there any specific part of your game you're really emphasizing? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you cut on the tape and it all comes down to footwork. And for me, being able to control my speed of my drop and really breaking down each step of the drop and how to play with great anticipation. And these past 2 practices, it's kind of back to that feeling of just playing, and that's the part for me that's fun. And really, I feel like my knowledge of the game from last year is it's grown a little bit, but it always grows. The more you keep going, the more you learn. But for me, it's the drop and playing with that, just playing smooth and having fun playing smooth and just going out there and making plays. And for me, I think that's the biggest thing is drop and just playing the way, dictating how I want to play. And that all comes down to one thing you control, and that's how you're dropping and the timing you're playing with.
George?
Yeah, Graham, with a full season under your belt now, have you noticed in practice anything kind of slowing down for you? Has it been coming to you a lot easier than any prior off season you've had before?
Yeah, it's been great. The game slowed down a ton. And for me to just really just get more reps at it and having a spring ball to just grow and learn and make some mistakes, learn from them, and then move on and grow. And for me, I think that this spring's going to be big time for me, and truly being able to focus on the things I messed up during the season and make sure it doesn't happen again. So it's going to be great.
Zach Hanley?
Graham, in the past, you've talked about how much you love watching film. After the Mayo Bowl, when did you start watching film, or did you kind of give yourself some time to just kind of relax and get away from football a little bit?
Yeah, I gave myself a couple of days just to kind of reflect on the season, and from that point to see, all right, what's going to work best for me going here or moving forward, and what do I need to do to, before I go and turn on the film from the season, how do I need to improve, and truly just taking like a holistic approach to it. And even outside of football, like during a game week, how am I going to take that time to focus on myself as a human being and just enjoy life? And for me, I took a couple of days just to kind of take that approach and, all right, how can I be the best Graham during the season? And then I went back and rewatched the season and really focused on, all right, here I'm gonna look at my drop, and then look at drops for a couple of days, and it's all right, I'm gonna look at scheme and how I went through the play. So for me, I took that time at home to kind of break it down into chunks of, this week I'm going to focus on drops. This week it's going to be scheme. This week going to be like defensive recognition. And that time at home was great just for me to just kind of slow it down and take it piece by piece and where I need to go from there to improve. And from that point, it was it's clear as day now on what I need to do. And that's the fun thing. And this is the chunk of time where you really get to put that to work.
Zach James?
Graham, bouncing off of Colton's last question, how is Daniel Wright bringing the juice in the quarterback room?
Yeah, he's always got the juice. He's a great guy, and I could talk about that guy for hours on hours. But he's just a great guy to have around, and just fits right in with a group of good eggs that we have in the quarterback room, and we really just feed off each other and try to bring the juice every day. But Dan's a great guy, and just I'd love to tell you some stories about him. I just can't.
That's fine. I guess I'll ask, how has he progressed, maybe from when he first stepped on campus until now?
Yeah, that's one thing I respect a ton out of him, and how hard he's worked, and taking that extra time to go and meet with like the GAs or coach and just talk about the game and our offense. And that's one thing that he's done great, of like asking those questions that need to be asked at the point where he came in without like having that spring ball and all that time ahead of the season. He just kind of got thrown into it. So this is a great time for him to truly just ask those questions and learn. And the strides he's taken are huge, and that's awesome to see.
Back to Colton.
Graham, you guys saw last year what COVID can do to a team and spreading through a team like it did. Are you nervous at all with how the protocol right now for you guys not to be tested daily?
I mean, we're still testing. We're going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and making sure that we're still practicing safe, and we're doing everything we can to make sure it doesn't happen again, and making sure we can make the most out of these practices. So as a team, I don't think we're really worried about it. We're still taking the safety precautions and everything we need to do in order to keep having practice. But I don't think guys are really extremely worried about it, especially with all like the vaccines rolling out. I know we got a big chunk of the team that has gotten vaccinated. So I don't think the stress on it is as big as it was, but we're still taking care of what we need to do.
Time for a couple more. We'll go back to Jesse.
Graham, this is your third spring here, but obviously your first one where you've been a starter and better know your role. How much more comfortable do you feel with developing relationships with teammates and being willing to tell them pointers or things you want from them? Maybe some of the things that don't always go into a specific play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just comes down to being a quarterback, and the way I try to carry myself as like a leader and a quarterback on the team is like, how can I be as close with everybody on the team as I can? And that goes to every day walking around the locker room, not looking at your phone, like really engaging with guys and just like asking them, like, dude, just talk to me, like tell me a story when you were a kid, and just getting to know guys at a deeper level that you normally wouldn't in the locker room. And but like for me, I've always tried to be like that, and I never force it. It just kind of comes to me, and it's fun to do, and it's fun to learn about people and how you can relate to them. And then like taking that onto the field, you build up that trust off the field, and then you can carry it on the field. And like, for example, like a guy like Chim, and off the field, we've had a bunch of deep talks and just kind of talked about like our goals and like where we want this team to go and stuff like that. And then like we've built up that trust. So on the field, all right, if he messes something up, I know I can go tell him right now, all right, dude, I need you at 14 yards. Like you can't be at 13. I need you at 14. and then we're good to go. So for me, it's taking care of that off the field and building that trust up so you can carry it onto the field. And I think that's what you need to do as a quarterback and as a leader.
All right, we'll wrap things up with one more from Jeff.
Yeah, Graham, when the team reunited for winter workouts and you guys maybe talked about what didn't go as well as you had hoped last year, what were some of the things you discussed? And do your teammates share your enthusiasm that 2021 is going to be a completely different team?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that we got back to, or when we got back that we talked about, was just being a team again and really having that time to go through winter workouts, go through spring ball, go through summer together. And how can we get that sense of like that togetherness back that you didn't have during the COVID year, or that when you're at home for 3 months and you can't see a guy face to face. So the first thing was, all right, how can we get to that point where we're just together and working out and building those bonds? And then to answer your question, yes, I think if you're here at the University of Wisconsin, you don't have those goals and you're at the wrong spot. And we know what the standard is. We know where we want to go, and everybody's ready to.